Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyber Duality, a COcyber podcast. This series is part of the EU-funded COcyber project, exploring how Europe can strengthen the connection between civilian and defense actors in cybersecurity and build a more resilient digital ecosystem. I am Dorina Stanculescu, COcyber's Communication and Dissemination Manager, and in each episode, we talk to leading voices who help shape Europe's cyber future. Today, I'm joined by Saskia van Uffelen, Manager of the Future Workforce Team at Agoria and Digital Champion for Belgium. Hoping I pronounced everything correctly. Saskia, thank you for being with us today. To begin with, to jump directly into our discussion, could you briefly tell us about your professional journey and how your work on digital transformation connects to cybersecurity today?
Very shortly, because I'm a boomer and I'm not going to make it very long, but interesting to know that normally I should be in a classroom or give physical education. So I've done studies which are completely different from what I'm doing the rest of my career. After my studies, I started in technology and stick into it because I loved it. It's the heart of the society. It moves very fast. I'm a change manager. I love to disrupt and create and innovate, which is possible with technology. Now, between you and me, after more than 25 years, I know a little bit about technology. I know a little bit of managing teams. I know a little bit of being CEO and managing P&Ls and integrating companies after acquisition, before splits, restructuring. And the Digital Champion part came because of the startup of the digital agenda in Europe. The first commissioner was a fantastic lady, Nelly Cruz, and she wanted to have a kind of a single point of contact per member state to help Europe to execute the digital agenda. But you have to go back in time, because today we're talking about cyber. We were still arguing if everybody would have a PC one day. So that's where it started. The Belgian government had asked me to do it. Now, I don't have any compensation for it. It's my social responsibility, I call it. And that's also why I'm very glad participating to this podcast. Whatever we can do, should do, to improve the effectiveness of the rollout of the digital agenda, taking into account inclusivity, taking into account competitiveness, taking into account safety of all people and all organizations. Then I'm a big ambassador. Now, as the agenda is pretty vast, the last year I focused more on skills, competences, and then the future workforce with a special attention to younger people, because it's for them we have to do it.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. I like that you are a change champion and that you mentioned disruptor, so disruptions. This is very interesting. Let's move on to the second question. So again, through your work on digital transformation and workforce, because you talked about teams, workforce, skills, where do you see organizations struggling the most when it comes to handling cybersecurity risks?
Firstly, organizations have to manage a lot of things these days. I mean, let's admit, in the current economical situation, with the geopolitics, with all thousands of priorities, and not to underestimate the tsunami of regulations and policies that we are creating, people are tired because they only hear bad news, which is the media helping them. Then we are still trying to stimulate them to work, with the result of a lot of burnouts. So there is a lack of harmony between welfare and well-being. And on top of that, I've never seen technology moving that fast than I've seen today. So it is a lot. It's a lot for the entrepreneurs, it's a lot for the employees or blue-collar people working in factories. And in all that, you have to choose your priorities. And to first tackle your question, yes, I know I have to do it besides all the rest, but I can't do everything at the same time. So how do I have to pay attention on these two, Or do I have to pay attention on getting the right staffing in my organization? Or do I have to pay attention on my economical performance? It's not easy for the companies. Knowing also that also in Belgium and for Agoria we have 2,400 companies going from the manufacturing to the most sexy and coolest startup in technology. Most of them are SMEs. So in a bigger company you still have a lot of people. You can make a department for cyber and one for AI and one for the human and but in a smaller company it comes all together. So it's not easy to choose, firstly. Secondly, they don't have the future competencies we need. They don't have the competencies we need. 44% of the Belgians do not have, between 6 and 70 years, do not have the necessarily basic digital skills. So we asked them to do a big spread. The education system is not necessarily like in Estonia. In Estonia they are teaching from primary school cybersecurity to children. We are still arguing if we need to include STEM into it. So there are some challenges. Beyond that, the older generations are less digital. The newer generations, they say they should be digital, but they don't know how it works really. It's not only about technology skills, but it's also about human skills. So it's not only about the catchy terminology of digital transformation and workforce evolution. It's more about the people and the urgency of the need and the slowness on the opportunities we get to get our priorities fixed, the economic under control, and the skills and the competencies within the right people.
Okay, thank you, Saskia, for this. Quite interesting. Of course, there's always a matter of priorities, but maybe if you balance the cybersecurity risks, then it may have, let's say, an effect on all the others. But for sure, I perfectly understand the challenges you mentioned, from the age, from the way we understand technology and so on. Let's move on with our conversation. Let's get to COcyber. As you know, our main ambition at COcyber is to foster civilian-military collaboration in cybersecurity. What are your thoughts? What's your idea on the current status of these collaborations and what needs to improve?
I was present at the COcyber event a few weeks ago, and I must admit that we are lucky in Belgium. Because we started with, at the defense side, we started with cyber commands, I think 3 years ago. And in the discussions we had, a lot of countries were still thinking what they should do. I mean, we have already started 3 years ago. From Agoria, we started with the Cyber Made in Belgium initiative from the industry, who from the industry has cyber solutions in their offer and can help in case of 3 years ago. And we made a focus on Cyber Made in Belgium for the industry, Cyber Made in Belgium for defense, for manufacturing specifically, and for talent. So I think we locally are in the second wave, because after 3 years your baby can already walk a little bit. Now we are focusing on two things. First, SMEs. Not every company is a huge company, and we have a lot of SMEs. How can we help them? How can we have started, it's an ecosystem, defense and industry and the academic world. It's a pretty broad ecosystem which we start, but now we need to scale. Starting, and you are responsible for communication, and this is also a European funded project. But a little bit my frustration is of those projects. This project ends in June, I think. And then it stops. And then we start another project. And then it stops. So what can we do to bring scalability in all those good initiatives that we have been starting for the last 3 years? And that's not only locally, because cyber doesn't stop at regional, neither country boundaries. We also have to do it on an international level. So I think we are lucky. We have a step further than the other countries. But now we need to go to the next gear and get scalability in whatever we do.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Also, this answer, Saskia, and thank you for taking part in our roundtable in Brussels, held on April the 22nd. That was very much appreciated. And yes, I think the issue of scalability, and I would say also sustainability, right? So long-term sustainability is an issue. However, since I've been working in EU projects for a while as well, there are some calls, some Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe calls that allow some of the projects to continue. Okay, not all of them, but within the digital field and also cybersecurity, some of them have the opportunity to continue. For COcyber, I'm not sure this is the case, but I think I truly understand and support your point. Moving now to our fourth question. Again, in your view, with your experience, how is cybersecurity changing the way technology and business work together?
As long as I'm working in the industry, there was always the challenge of getting business to IT alignment. It's as old as I am, which is a few years. But when I started, and I'm a Compact girl also, when I started at Compact, we received a big book, and we had 9 months to study the product announcements that we would do 9 months later. Now we have 9 seconds, and there is something new. And what people do underestimate, it's not business explains to IT develops, 9 months later they come back with a solution, and when the business is changed, and so they say to IT, this is not what we want. Now the challenge is, how are we going to learn business to do IT? Because AI, and linked with AI is cyber, I will come to that later. Yeah, it's to every job will change, not only the IT roles. We've done at Agoria a study of the impact of AI on ICT skills. We are now doing the study on the impact of AI on cyber, or cyber on AI. You can turn it into directions. But the biggest difference with the past is that it goes that fast that we don't have the time anymore to do business to IT alignment. IT will be capable of giving faster business requirements, functionalities, but if the business doesn't learn their basics of AI and writing the right prompts and having the necessarily human skills or analytic skills to see what is wrong, where is a cyber risk, then we will never progress. So I think the question will become different if going forward than it was in the past.
Okay, that's also an interesting perspective. Quite a lot of challenges I see in this, as you mentioned.
Or opportunities. It's like you can.
Yes, challenge, a lot of opportunities to improve. Like, then let's call it a blue ocean strategy.
Yeah, exactly.
Not so much developed, but it's okay. Let's hope we are going to get there soon. The blue ocean strategy. I like to close this question with this sentence. Now we are getting close to to the end of our discussion, so I'm going to ask you, looking ahead, what excites you about the future of cybersecurity, and what concerns you the most?
I will end up with a positive thing, and I will first take the last part. So what is still keeping me awake at night in this world is. When I started a few years, and I'm responsible also at Agoria for all cyber upskilling and AI upskilling and data upskilling. The problem is not cyber. The problem is not AI. The problem is that our companies do not have their data under control. The problem is that the citizens who do not have the basic digital skills, that are the ones using their smartphones, using whatever AI tool, not having a clue what is happening with the data. And if you don't have your data under control, then obviously it's very difficult to talk about AI, it's very difficult to talk about cyber. So the priority should be, but that's not sexy. People are listening more if you talk about cyber. People are listening more if you talk about AI. But the reality is, no data under control, you don't know where your data go, you don't know what you do with your data, then it's very difficult. So that's my worry. Now the good thing and what excites me is that finally we have been passing COVID, not too bad, because we were capable of saying, sorry, you are muted. Could you have imagined that we wouldn't have had the connectivity? Then we would have had a major crisis. We are living in a region where connectivity, okay, you have always people complaining, but connectivity is pretty good. Between people, between products, between companies. So we have an opportunity to have a lot of data which we can use to boost our economy. Now, if you talk about data and if you talk about sharing, yeah, obviously some people have already an alarm system when they leave their house. You should also have an alarm system when you have your house of data. And that is what cybersecurity is about. Now, it's not about technology, and people say, yeah, but then I need engineers who have a lot of technical knowledge. The majority of the competences I need in the cyber world are human skills. It's people who are capable of seeing what is the weak part in my process, where is the weak part in my governance. It's people who are explaining when the company is hacked, explaining to the board or explaining to the financial market that we have business under control, explaining that the reputation of the company is not being hurt. All of that has nothing to do with technology. The human, and I hate the word soft skills, by the way, the human skills for me are the most important companies going forward. And I think if we can combine that, which is the human part, with the technology and use AI to help cyber, so the positive sides, I think we could create a great society for our children and our grandchildren.
Okay, Saskia, very, very interesting. So I even took down some notes because I really liked it. So I love the part of organizations don't have their data under control. This is not sexy. So I really love this part. And then what excites you most about the future of cybersecurity, you mentioned the connectivity, so connection between people, projects, organizations, but I also appreciated the human factor. Okay, I'm curious, but then we would have another discussion. Why don't you like the term soft skills?
There is nothing about HR is always the habit of you've got technology, which are hard skills, and then the rest is soft.
Okay, I mean, so it's about importance.
Having a good empathic behavior, convincing people, managing crisis. People are tired, so you have to compensate. They only read and hear negative news. To get an engagement, to motivate them to go for lifelong learning. All that's not easy. So it's for me completely illogical that you call it soft skills.
Soft, okay, I understand. So it's just a matter of the term, that it has this connotation that it's easy, is soft, is that when it's quite...
It's for women and it's blah blah, and it doesn't bring any money to the table.
Okay. When the case is they are very important, they are as strong as the hard skills. Okay, so I understood now. So Saskia, thank you for sharing your insights and for contributing to this episode of Cyber Duality, a COcyber podcast. Your perspective highlighted the importance of preparing organizations and especially people for the evolving cybersecurity landscape. For those listening, you can follow COcyber's work and upcoming activities on our website, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Blue Sky pages. We'll be back soon with the next episode and another expert voice helping shape Europe's cybersecurity landscape. Thank you for listening. Talk to you next time.